Have you ever wondered if there's a simple formula, a kind of recipe that explains why great civilizations rise, and then why they almost always collapse? Well, we're going to dig into that very idea, drawing from the work of Johan Norberg to explore this pattern, what we're calling the rise and fall formula. So picture this. Norbeck is walking through the ruins of ancient Athens, Plato's Academy, Aristotle's Lyceum, and instead of feeling inspired, he just feels this profound sadness. He sees that all the greatness, all that incredible human achievement has been reduced to, well, just decay. And that feeling leads him to ask a really important question.
It's the ghost that haunts history, isn't it? What is it that allows a society to achieve these spectacular heights, only to crumble so completely that all that's left for future generations are ruins? We see this pattern again and again and again. So where do we even begin to look for answers?
Well, first we'll start by sifting through the evidence, looking for clues left behind in the rubble. And then we're going to use those clues to try and piece together the formula for a golden age. And it turns out it's a surprisingly consistent recipe for progress. And the secret ingredient, the one thing that seems to pop up over and over again, it boils down to one core concept: openness. It seems that history's golden ages almost always ignite at the crossroads of cultures, fueled by the free flow of people, goods, and especially ideas. Let's take a look at the evidence.
So, you take Athens. Plato, of all people, complained that their biggest naval victory against the Persians was won by what he called a motley crowd of ragamuffins. But here's the thing, those ragamuffins were the poorest citizens. And because they were so crucial to the victory, it empowered them, which in turn radicalized their democracy and kicked off the incredible Athenian Golden Age.
And you see this exact same pattern with Rome. I mean, its own founding myth is basically about being an asylum for refugees, a city literally built by outcasts, debtors, and escaped slaves. From its very first day, Rome's superpower was its unique ability to absorb outsiders and make them Roman. Or how about the Islamic Golden Age? The intellectual openness of Baghdad was just astounding. Get this, in the 9th century, it had over 100 bookshops. It wasn't just creating new knowledge, it was this amazing hub, translating and building on the collective wisdom of the Greeks, the Persians, and the Indians. And then in Song China, we see another kind of openness. The moment the government just loosened its grip a little bit, this incredibly powerful commercial society just exploded into existence. As one poet at the time put it, great ships sail only for profit. This economic freedom created wealth and innovation like nobody had ever seen. So, if openness is the formula for success, what's the formula for failure? How do you slam the brakes on this engine of progress and bring it all crashing down? This brings us to a fundamental choice, a fork in the road. On one side, you have all the ingredients for a golden age: curiosity, trade, migration. And on the other side, well, that's the poison that ends it: control, insularity, and fear. Every single vibrant, open society eventually finds itself at this crossroads. And time again, they choose the path that leads to decline. In the end, these great civilizations basically commit a kind of suicide. The very elites who benefited from all the innovation and openness, they decide they've had enough. They kick away the ladder for everyone else. New ideas suddenly become threatening. The culture freezes into a rigid orthodoxy. Fear of the outside world takes over, and they turn inward, centralizing power and abandoning the very openness that made them great in the first place. And Rome is just the classic textbook example of this. When Marcus Aurelius died, the Pax Romana, 2 whole centuries of peace, it ended. But that wasn't the final blow. It was just the beginning of the end. What came next was instability, civil war, and these increasingly desperate attempts to control society by force, like Diocletian's price controls. The turn toward fear and control came long before the final collapse. Which brings us, kinda dramatically, to our own time. Because when you look at this historical pattern, you find a startling exception. Norberg's central argument is pretty shocking. Our modern era of progress is the very first golden age in all of human history that, so far, has managed to avoid collapse. Every single other one fizzled out. Ours hasn't. And the sheer scale of it is unlike anything the world has ever seen. Just consider this staggering fact. 50%. That's how much of all the wealth humanity has ever created in its entire existence that was generated just since 1990. I mean, let that sink in. half of everything in just the last few decades. And look, this isn't just about wealth for a few people. The results have been real, for billions. In that same period, global extreme poverty absolutely plummeted, from nearly 40% of the world's population down to single digits today. This is the incredible success story that we are all living in. But is it guaranteed to last? And that leads us to the most crucial takeaway of all. These patterns from history, they're not a prophecy. They're a warning. History really is a vast early warning system. The stories of Athens and Rome and Baghdad, they're not just old tales from a textbook. They are a flashing red light on our own dashboard, warning us about the very familiar patterns of self-destruction. Think about it this way. Progress isn't our natural state of being. It's more like swimming. We know how to do it, but it's not automatic. It takes a conscious choice, a constant effort to apply those lessons from the past and keep our heads above water. So we end up right back where we started, but now the question is turned on us. The patterns are crystal clear. The formula for success and the poison for failure are laid out right in front of us. History shows us the options, but it doesn't make the choice for us. That part, that's up to us.